The plane landed, and when I came out, there was a dude look like a cop standing there with my name out. I ain't trying to get arrested yet, I just got here. I sprang with the quickness like lightning disappeared. I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate was pregnant dice in the mirror. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, man, forget it. Yo, home to Bel Air.
Okay, so I'm Abby. I'm Noah. And that song was the Freshman to Bel Air, like, theme song, in case you guys didn't get that. And so, basically, that song is, like, the intro to the show, obviously, and it tells the story of why Will is in Bel Air. So, the, like, kind of, like, food for thought is, do you listen to that song or any song for, like, the lyrics or the story that the artist is telling? Or do you listen to it just because, like, it's a catchy beat?
Okay, so our project is History of a Single Story, and our main point is are we still telling the same story? So that idea came to me from, I took Miss Aaron's Human Rights first semester, and we did this activity, Step into the Circle. So one person will ask a question, and then if you agree with it or you have the answer to it, you step in. So someone asked a question, I think it might have been Walker actually, but like, does music impact your life on a daily basis? And like 90% of the class stepped in, and I was just sitting there like, no it doesn't, like everyone is lying. So basically the premise for our thing is, or for our TED Talk, is just music as a way of oral storytelling, like in our modern society.
Okay, so oral storytelling really documented, like, the important parts of history in ancient Egypt and West Africa. And it was told in Africa by griots, and they, like, you would sit down and you would just, like, tell people a story. And usually it would explain, like, why something would happen. For example, like, why the sun would rise and why it would set. But it would have, like a meaning to it. So, like, maybe, like, the sun would rise because, like, the angels were happy or something like that. Oh yeah, and then also, it's, oral storytelling is, like, still, like, present today, and it's really in music, but instead of, like, telling, like, why the sun would rise, it kind of deals with, like, controversial events, like, to this day. For example, like, Same Love by Macklemore is, like, a really, like, popular song, and it talks about, like, human rights. And then, two more examples would be Billie Holiday and Strange Fruit, and then Woody Guthrie and This Land Is Our Land.
So music throughout, we did mostly in American society, but throughout all these like really hard times, like Billie Holiday with Strange Fruits, she just would just come out and sing to all these different crowds speaking out against racial discrimination, and just changed the minds of anyone that should listen to her. And Macklemore, which you guys would all know, Same Love is a really overplayed song, but the meaning behind it is still pretty deep, and it's easier for like this straight guy to come out and rap for 3 minutes about gay rights than because no one is going to sit down and like find YouTube or find like a speech on YouTube and listen to a speech about why we need to improve the rights for. Yeah.
Okay, so oral storytelling has transformed from like, it's like if we were back in like ancient Egypt, like if we were getting told like an oral story, we would be sitting down and listening to an elder telling us like why something happens or what's happening. But instead, like now, we sit down and we listen to music, and in a lot of cases, and I'm pretty sure like most cases, the music we listen to isn't like an artist just like going off and saying random words. It's an artist telling their story.
And they tell their stories, and we hear them as songs, and we listen to them, we process them, and then we make them our own. Which sets us up for our game.
Okay, so we're going to play a game, and what we're going to do is Noah and I are going to read off quotes, and you guys each have like papers that say song or story.
They were supposed to look like this, but I'm stupid at the copy machine.
Anywho, so if you think it's a song, you're going to hold up the song part, and if you think it's a story, you're going to hold up like the part of the word that story is.
Part that should say story, but. Okay, so I'll go first. So he was clearly cut out for great things. He was still young, but he had one thing. Okay, so you're all wrong. Even Miss Dresta, which, you guys, that's from Things Fall Apart. So. speak out about his former drug abuse. So.
Okay, for too much rest itself becomes a pain. Yeah, that's the Odyssey.
Okay, Heaven, is there a chance that you could come down and open doors to hurting people like me? Okay, you guys got one right. I'm really proud. That's Kanan. That's a song.
Okay, he had a slight stammer whenever he was angry and could not get his words out quickly enough. He would use his fists.
Other side.
Yeah, that's things fall apart.
He's coming back. Okay, I'm just calling it how I see it because I've seen it, and as far as you know, I can be it. Alright, that one was for Miss Aaron. You guys are all wrong. That's Chief the Poet, so that's his poem.
Okay, words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. That's
He goes across the universe.
Okay, let me tell you the story in the form of a dream. I don't know why I have to tell it, but I know what it means. Okay, that's the song, you're right. And that's my favorite example we use. That's Kenji by Fort Minor, and he is talking about his father's experience in the Japanese internment camps. It's a really cool song. You should all go listen to it.
And then the last one is, we stand at the same point of pain. We too are slaves. Our children are crying, calling us with tears. That's the story of Euphrates.
Okay, so then our whole, even the game, everything, it all comes back to this question. So are we still telling the same story? And, I mean, after our presentation, like, you guys can form your own opinions. But to both of us, the answer is yes, because all of these oral storytellings that we have found, Things Fall Apart, and the Egyptian and African ones that we looked up also, all of them are speaking out against the bad things that are happening in their societies, their communities. So all these rap songs and other songs, poems, all these stories talking about drug violence,